You're nearly 2 years now as trustee. What has been the most gratifying part of the job?
The teamwork. I think we've done some projects with the help of our department heads that we have some amazing department heads, and we've kind of given them the latitude to bring us things that are on the cutting edge of what they see going on in other places in the state. You know, one of the things, for example, is with both our park system and our zoning. I noticed last night at North Canton's council meeting, you know, they were talking about bringing together their fees and all those things based on their park rentals, and they said that they were also looking at the ability to serve residents online. We're already there with that. Right. We are doing that online now.
And you record your your trustee meetings.
We record
and
every
people
meeting.
go there, and that Louis Geovasis was the moving factor behind that, right?
And I'm pretty sure, because that actually took place after I left. So that was in that period after I left. But regardless of who it was, I think that was a good move. You know, because even we go back and take a look at those and say, okay, let's just, you know, did I miss something here? And you know, it's a good mechanism to be able to do that. And our zoning, we're going to be doing the same thing. We want to try to make everything that we do user friendly to those people who are on tight schedules. So, for example, if they're able to do something online, that way, if they have something with the zoning department that they want to do business with, they may come there, they don't know all the information, and they're thinking that they're going to be able to come one time and get it done, and now they have to leave, and then they have to come back. That's frustrating for them. What we're hoping for, based on our zoning director's direction in this with an existing program that we already have, we're going to roll this out online, which I think is it's a great idea. We've done that. We've worked Oakwood Square. You know, the history of Oakwood Square has just been horrific in terms of abilities to be able to make something happen.
Have you turned the corner on that?
Oh, I think we have. Let's face it, now we have people that, you know, we've been working back and forth with guilds. You know, we sat down at the table with some of their ideas about what they originally wanted to do. And we even went as far as to create a new zoning classification that for one of the thoughts that they had in terms of what they wanted to build out, that was an R7, which was a multiple use zoning. And we created that based on what they thought they might want to do with that property. Now, in the end, they ended up with something a little bit different. We were able to move forward. So we're going to see a drug mart. They're still working on that. We're hoping that that drug mart is going to be that anchor store. It's going to, you know, fill some other stores up. We have a couple restaurants in there right now. But obviously anything that anchor store can do. And we see some growth going on in that corner with some other things. You know, on the southwest corner of East and Middle Branch, that whole property has been demolished in that footprint there, and we're seeing Speedway building out a much larger Speedway. They're probably going to have a deli in there. So I think we're seeing some nice improvements there, and we've all worked on that one way or another. I think we've seen some growth within our public safety departments. Fire department, we were able to pass a levy. I had the fortune to attend the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland on 4 different occasions. And one of them was a strategic planning class. And what I remember in that strategic planning class that I have kind of used as a model for how I look at the service that it has provided in the fire department, but now allows me to use that same model, whether it's road department, police department, or whatever. And that was this. The instructor said very clearly that you as the fire chief or you as an elected official do not really determine the level of service that your voters get. They determine that. What your responsibility is to make sure when they determine that you have given them all the facts and now they're okay with that level of service, you better provide it. And that has stuck with me forever. So when we have a fire chief, for example, that comes to us and says, we're looking at a lot of different things, but here's one thing that we notice about our responses and our growth, that we are seeing an increase in the percentage of the amount of time that our resources are now totally used up. So we may want to be looking at having a few more people on duty during the day by increasing those numbers. And that's what we did with this last election. I said, if for nothing else, let's make the presentation. Let's show what it is that we want to do with this levy, and then let's let the voters decide. Because at the end of the day, if they don't like it, or they don't like that increase, or they don't trust you, they're not going to vote for it.
How many fire stations does Plain have?
We have 4.
4.
Yeah.
Are they all strategically placed? They all fully utilized?
Well, we're starting to strategically place them. And when you look at the initial location of fire stations, going back to the initial old days, fire station locations were placed in those neighborhood areas where you could get volunteers to respond from. Okay? They weren't necessarily the most logical in terms of response.
But it's a changed model now.
Absolutely. You see no cities now building fire stations in neighborhoods. But when you look at some of our fire stations, they're still in neighborhoods. Slowly, obviously, over a period of time, because certainly we don't have the funds to change that up all at once. But I honestly and truly believe that the build out of the last fire station, it's centrally located and it is close to the center of the township. The placement of fire stations also are a key factor in ISO ratings. ISO basically determines what your liability for your fire insurance rates are. And one of those is, what's the location of your fire station? We still have a fire station that sits very close to the border of the area of Lake Township.
Right.
So when you take a look at it, the northern response, you don't have to go very far, where now you're out of Plain Township. So you don't get a full credit to ISO by that fire station sitting where it's at. So that may be something that we're going to have to look at someday as to how do we best utilize the locations of the existing fire stations. But the one that we created, and all I did was based on our ability to plan ahead. We looked at our mini master plan. And the mini master plan, based on that evaluation, said you're going to have to look at the possibility of either redoing fire stations or moving fire stations to be able to accommodate that response. And that's how the location of where current Station 1 came about now. And in the next ISO rating, we actually dropped 2 ISO rating scales.
And where's station number 1 located?
That's on Schneider Road, 1700 Schneider, directly across.
So
from
that's
the
the one fire station that is where you think it ought to be, and maybe the other 3 aren't?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.